Hey y'all, it's Andrew Reed with Mossy Creek Mushrooms, and as you might be able to tell, warmer weather is upon us, as I can attest to. So, this means a bunch of changes for the farm, but it also means that it's been a little bit since I've given an update, because I tend to give an update on the farm whenever weather's been warmer, or when there's a seasonal, seasonal change. I think I did my last update in November, and now, you know, obviously it's a lot nicer weather than November weather to do an update. So, with that, there's a bunch of stuff going on. You can tell, you know, spring has sprung. Most of our spring flowers have been going through all their flowering. I've got my aquaponics system here next to me, so you may hear the tinkling of water going, you know, as I'm talking. And this is where we start preparing a lot of our fresh vegetables for this time of year. And I know that's not mushroom related, but a lot of people seem to like my aquaponics system, so I'll take a little bit of B-roll and then I'll show you guys just what's kind of coming up in it right now. Right now it's mainly watercress, and the watercress is seeding. As far as mushrooms go, there's been a lot of changes over the past little bit. So if I just start in one part of the op, and I'll just, in my mind, move from one to the other, and then we'll discuss each one of those. So as I normally walk through my double doors, you know, we're right there in the lab area. That has not changed much, other than just some rearranging of things to help, you know, a little bit of workflow go a little bit better. And we have a little bit better break facilities than what we had before. Culture lab is still pretty much the same way. It is full. I do have an incubator now where I am incubating koji regularly and making koji rice and making koji wine and all that kind of stuff at home. And I absolutely plan on doing a video on that. Another side of that is that we're doing a lot of experimental strains. So like we had BS8 and BS26 go live on the website. Those have been phenomenal strains. As far as blue oysters go, I'm replacing all of my commercial production. My workhorse strain is now going to be BS8. It is a cross between a Lambert's 123 and the North Spore Snow Oyster, and is just phenomenal in almost all ways. It has superior shelf life, a really good yield, a really nice white stem, nice and thick, but soft at the same time. Not quite as thick as King Blue, but it also seems to be more blotch resistant than King Blue. So just all around, BS8 is becoming one of my favorite strains. Now BS26 is very similar to BS8. It's got the same parentage, it's from the same cross. It's one of the other strains that we got from that cross. And mainly it's its unique blue color that just sold me on that. Oh, hello, Bumblebee. I don't know why you were really interested in my face all of a sudden. But anyways, BS26, it's got a good yield. It's very similar to most blue oysters, except it's just got a phenomenal blue, and I think it's going to be a superior farmer's market oyster because that snap of color is going to get people's attention. Especially when you pair it up with a darker blue and maybe a gold oyster. Like, I can just see that looking amazing on a table. So, other than the new strains coming out of the lab, I mean, plus we got a lot of wild clones coming out. We've been doing a lot of experimentation. The Dyson Sphere oyster, or Dyson Sphere lion's mane, sorry about that. The Dyson Sphere lion's mane has turned out to be a lion's mane that does not like to fruit in the cold, but has been a superior hot tolerant mushroom. Like, it was cloned in August from the wild. So again, you know, we're seeing like a lot of genetics coming into play that I think are like, that's going to be an easy strain for people to grow to get really nice looking lion's mane during the hotter parts of the year. So that's what we're switching to right now. Now if we go out of the labs, and I think my phone's dying, or my camera's dying, so I'll go until my camera is actually, we just stop it right there for a second. So if we move out of the labs, we end up getting into, well, you guys can see how it changes. I'll get some B-roll from the top up above the labs, and just, if you remember about this time last year, you know, we signed the lease in March, well, March 16th is when we took possession, and it was a completely empty warehouse. And now you can just see it is completely full. I never thought I would fill up that much space, but I filled it up. So, well, Ben, helped me fill it up a big time. Man of War has done most of the building out for us. So, now that said, you know, as you walk out of our labs, you'll see straight ahead of you, we have our walk-in, you know, Christopher Walken, which you guys saw in the last update video. You'll also see that we've got a lot more ducks now out back. We're doing Muscovies, we've got an egg-laying flock, and then we've got some birds that I like just because of the colors. But Muscovy for meat, and Golden 300 hybrids are our main layers now. Mixed in a little bit of khaki Campbells and the like. So, we also have fish set up. We've got our brood tanks for the tilapia. We've got a fish system that we're setting up. So we'll go from there then to say, as you're walking down the great hallway that we have, where the grow rooms are built off of that, we have 2 full-size grow rooms now, which means we've got 4 aisles. That is more than double the amount of grow space that we had in our old grow rooms here at the house. That's doing really well for us. I really like that. We're about to switch over to all of my hot tolerant strains, so stuff like Elm Z, King Blue, BS8 will still be used, but I'm not expecting to have as nice a color on it through the warmer months. But we'll be doing Mother of Pearl, because Mother of Pearl has been very, very heat tolerant for us, which is surprising since we bred that in December. So, and then the Dyson Sphere Lion's Mane, probably some Comb Tooth, and a few other, you know, summer strains. Things that, like chestnuts, seem to do really well with warmer weather. Of course, we've got puppies. Truffle has had her last litter of puppies. We are getting her fixed after this. She is now going into retirement. So we'll probably be picking one of these puppies to be, you know, a companion for Truffle and Venture, and training it out on, see if we can get it trained as a kayak dog. Didn't mean to spit on camera. Now, as you're going down that great hallway, when you have those 2 grow rooms off to your right, incubation is going to be built out on the left, but for now, that 3rd grow room that we were going to have is just our incubation. And I'll take some B-roll of that. It's really dark. It's not got a lot of airflow in it right now. It's really heavy. We just turned on a big fan to blow all the air out of it before we go work in there. Just because I do not want anybody working in a high CO2 environment. That said, once incubation is built out, that 3rd grow room is actually going to become an aquaponics room for us. We've decided that we're going to... The mushrooms are always the first step, so now we are launching into aquaponics being our next venture alongside our bugs and ducks and things like that. We're going to do mainly aquatic vegetation, like water spinach, water cress. Both of those do really well. They grow much faster than other types of greens. They're typically a higher value green, and they will allow us to grow fish and plants in the same space. Not to mention, aquatic plants are already evolved, created, whatever you want to say, to uptake fish waste directly. So they don't have to go through the whole nitrogen cycle. Hello, airplane. But they don't have... Wow, right over me. But they don't have to go through the full nitrogen cycle to uptake, you know... So typically the nitrogen cycle is what? Ammonia, ammonium, nitrite, nitrate, nitrogen. I may be off on that, but basically water plants can just take up ammonium directly. So it makes sure that you can get a jump start on it. They can also take in nitrogen, but they have to reverse the process a lot of times to fully absorb that. So it makes for just a more efficient system. It's also why they get to grow, you know, like water spinach can grow. When we do our outdoor, like these beds right here will be full of water spinach. That's what we'll live off of as far as greens are concerned. No spinach, no nothing in our gardens. And they'll grow 4 inches a day. You can about see the water spinach grow at peak season. So now, all of that said, that's going to take a lot of experimentation. We're going to play with mixing mushrooms and doing different industrial ecologies, we'll call it. You can come on through, Samantha. Just try not to bump the camera, please. And we'll have all of that stuff going. Hopefully, we'll have our outdoor systems through the summertime built, and then through the wintertime we'll have I'm wanting to be able to bring those systems inside, or at least seed starters from the outside, bring those indoors to overwinter, and then we're going to try to do a variety of different vegetation. So, alongside our tilapia. The Man of War crew, if we go out that door, the Man of War crew has been busy building baggers. We'll see if I can get something, you know, for you guys on video here. But they have been busy building baggers, shipping baggers. They are now working with Mushroom Media Online, so Seth Fisher, he's now their distributor. And let me tell you guys, if you go to mushroom-mediaonline.com, you can get the pellets and for goat mix or master's mix or the fast fruiting mix or anything alongside Thor, you know, the mushroom farmer's best friend. So it's finally a bagger everyone can afford, and we have a distribution network that, I mean, I think we're shipping baggers across the country for a couple $100 shipping. So, you know, it's just blowing my mind how well the Man of War crew, Ben and Bill, are just blowing it out of the water. We've got, every time I go over to the shop, we've got baggers going out. So, we walk back through incubation. We've got all that stuff, like I've said before. And I'm trying to think of what else there might be. I mean, other than the fact that, you know, we're seeing our mushrooms coming in right now. Because the warmer temperatures came upon us, we actually ended up seeing mushrooms getting stressed, and that is mainly due to airflow quality and heavy sporing. And this is what happens: is the weather warms up, metabolisms of the mushrooms speed up, so you have faster maturation, more spores being produced at a faster rate. I'm sure, like, you can see it, they're just blowing spores out now. I'll see if I can get some B-roll of that as well. But they are really producing spores heavy that pulls double duty, that slows down my fan even more, which means we need to clean the fans more often. So, you know, we'll pull the fan, clean it, get that going again, and then do that more often, allowing more fresh air, which keeps our mushrooms from being so heat stressed. And it's not technically heat stress. I call it heat stress because it's a combination caused by the heat being the catalyst. But you'll see longer stems on my mushrooms right now, flatter caps, and stuff flipping up more often because we're not getting to it as quickly. So that's going to change as we up the HVAC and up the fresh air exchange. In fact, I'll get plenty of footage of my leggy mushrooms right now, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. I know everybody thinks that if for some reason that I seem like I do, you know, everything really well and on time and perfect and everything. No, I'm just as sloppy as everybody else. I make mistakes just like everybody else. The mushrooms still trip me up just like everybody else, and I've got the footage to prove it. So, that said, oh man, we got some nice old road mushrooms coming in. That's easily still my favorite eating mushroom. And we're getting better weights on it now, especially with the goat mix. It's fruiting really well. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, the liquid culture test. The liquid culture straight to bulk inoculation went perfectly. The mushroom bags grew in. It took a couple weeks longer to grow in. They fruited. I have pictures on Instagram of the mushrooms, you know, with my hand up against them so everybody can see. The blocks are a lot smaller because they're compressed still. We never shook them up. We never busted them up. And so we have these super small blocks with huge king blue, you know, clusters coming off of them. A couple of cool touch clusters just starting to pin, that kind of thing. We're going to do multiple tests on this, but it looks like for oysters at least, with the goat mix, I'll be moving to a lot of liquid culture to bulk inoculation, no shaking. Get away from my crew having to sit there and shake bags all the time. So, and that's going to cut down on my labor bill. Because paying somebody to tape a bag versus shaking a bag, oh man, I can eat that all day. Let's see. Oh, you guys can see I have switched to mate again. Mate tends to be my summertime drink. I don't know why. I just feel like coffee makes me feel sludgy and slowed down in the summertime, but in the wintertime it makes me feel, you know, happy and perky and everything else. But mate has got kind of that, continues to push me forward. So I don't know why I get so many comments on the mate drinking, but I do. So yeah, you know, let's all switch over to mate. It's about that time of year. I got some cool brewing stuff going on that I'll show you guys. I'm working on an enoki wine video to show to you all. Let's see. Basically, guys, that's it. Like, just everybody start upping your airflow a little bit. Get your HVAC installed. Make sure that you've got your HVAC down, because it's about to hit that season of heat where most of us southern growers, a lot of you western growers know what I'm talking about. It is going to be the hell time of growing summer coming. You northern growers may be finally hitting a relief cycle away from all that bitter cold. So, you know, I prefer growing mushrooms in the wintertime and in the cold, and I've actually thought about moving to a seasonal grow cycle, much like Brian Callow does, and just shutting down for a couple months in the summertime through the worst of the heat. I have never done that. I don't know why I never do that. You know, if I planted like some aquaponic crops, really focused on that, leaned in that summertime, I could just sell that stuff through the summer. But mushrooms tend to be just an all year thing for me, and they are my cash commodity crop that pays for all the other crops and experimentation I get to do. So with that, y'all, I think it's time that I turn the pellet grill on, start smoking out some oyster mushrooms. I got some chicken thighs I'm going to throw on the grill, and you know, start preparing for supper. But it is now evening, finally cool enough to come outside and start doing some stuff, and I may even plant the garden tonight. So with that, y'all, keep spawning culture.